It's finally here, and welcome to our new video series, which is called the 10-minute project preview. And today we're going to talk about Tembusu Grand, a project that has been very highly anticipated. Many people have been watching this site since I think it was sold 1-2 years ago. And in this video format, we're going to do in 10 minutes explain the Tembusu Grand project as much as possible. We don't have the information today. We don't have a lot of information today. The developer has not given much details, but this is going to come soon. I think easily Q1 2023. And the idea by doing this video in 10 minutes is that we try and give people an idea, the plus points of the project, maybe the negative points of the project, as early as you can. Because sometimes there are people out there trying to find out more information about this project. They can't get it because there's nothing available. We will try to do as much research as we can, give you as much information as we can, based on what we know today that's publicly available in the market and maybe not so public, right? And try and give you an idea so that at least you have some idea before you buy, or if you consider doing this project on something to buy today. So my name is Ryan Koo, and welcome to this episode 10-minute project preview on Tembusu Grand. Let me introduce myself first.
Director of Alpha Marketing at Ryan
Speaking is Katong Malaysian. So my name is Ryan. Namaste, Ryan.
6,000 incoming supply in Johor. This is
Thank you all.
I am writing thank you for attending today's presentation on Katong Malaysia.
Okay, so let's talk about Tembusu Grand. And Tembusu Grand is this is a map, right? A Google Map screenshot of Tembusu Grand. Basically, it's off Jalan Tembusu. In case the name doesn't ring to you, basically it's in Katong, right? Along Jalan Tanjong Katong. Basically, is well, we can say it's in the heart of Katong, right? It's just off the Kota a little bit, right? And the interesting thing about this site is that the location is pretty prime. Many of you, and I think many people have been quite familiar with this stretch of Katong, where there's a very famous Punggol Nasi Lemak branch there. A lot of people go to this Punggol Nasi Lemak. You can see the queues outside every evening, right? And there's also some other famous eateries, drinking places, some pubs, some retail shops here at this stretch of Jalan Tembusu intersecting to Jalan Tanjong Katong. And of course, if you turn a little bit more, you get into Mountbatten. Mountbatten brings you into the prime, super prime Katong area itself. So as a location, it's a quite atas location, right? Living in the essence of Katong, right? It's a tagline that the developer had. Now, to be very frank, the land price at 1302 per square foot is a little bit on the high end, right? 1302 per square foot. Okay, a bit on the high end. A lot of projects that we've seen in the past couple of years in Singapore probably were done roughly 1,000, maybe 1,001, right? Or just under 1,000 for the cheaper plots. So at 1302, this project, Tembusu Grand, is considered land price on the high side. So we're probably going to see additional $100, $200 above other projects that we've seen launched, right, in 2022. But it's a fairly large project. 640 units, leasehold 99. But as I mentioned, the big draw is the Katong address. Many projects. I mean, I think there hasn't been a proper Katong launch, or there has been actually Embassy. That's like Embassy in maybe last year. That was a Katong East Coast project. But there are not many projects in the East Coast, and a lot of the projects in the East Coast that are launched are anyhow in a higher pricing range. Anyway, East Coast Singapore Katong is probably similar to Bukit Timah in terms of the level of atasness, right? So the per square foot land here is definitely expensive, more expensive than usual. But like I said, people want East Coast and Katong address. It's a very prime place to be. I want to live here, right? It's a great location. I was just at the site yesterday, and I think this is a pretty nice lifestyle location for people to live in Singapore, especially if you love the East Coast. So very mature. And some other things to consider is that also schools, right? You have Tanjong Katong Girls' School just next to you. It's literally just next to this project, right? The Canadian International School down a little bit, definitely within 1 kilometer. And there are a couple other primary schools and stuff all within 1-2 km, which is a big consideration for parents who are buying for schooling. So that is another thing. Developer is also pretty good. We're talking about CDL and MCL, which are all developers that have done pretty good job in the past. Nice layouts, pretty practical layouts, and we won't expect anything less from this project, Tembusu Grand, right? The only thing is maybe MRT, right? There's no MRT station like next door to you or like really near walking distance. The nearest MRT is probably Tanjong Katong MRT, which is from the Thomson line that is being built will be ready in about maybe 3-4 years from now. But actually, that's also roughly the same time this project TOP. Tembusu Grand will TOP around 2026, 2027, similar at the same time as when this MRT ready. So the MRT, Tanjong Katong MRT is about 700 meters away. So we're talking about 2 bus stops. You can walk if you want. It's not that difficult to walk. If you want to get to Dakota MRT, it's probably a kilometer. Paya Lebar is about 2 km away. So these are the attributes of the site. Later we will do a Google map dive in, and then if you can't recognize why I'm saying Tanjong Katong and you really don't know where Punggol Nasi Lemak is in Katong, you do a Google map dive through to where this project is. Okay, so let's do it now. On my this screen. Okay. So now we are at Jalan Tanjong Katong, right? And if you look here, this is the Tembusu Grand site. If you're not familiar, this building is a bit recognizable, right? I think it's called Chelsea Lodge, right? And this is Jalan Tanjong Katong. So in this direction, like what you see here, you head towards Paya Lebar, and if you turn left, it's to Dakota, right? If you go behind here, this is towards the Mayor Road, East Coast, and if you turn left, after this, you end up in I-12 Katong, and that area of, I-12 Katong and the shophouse area, I-12 Katong area, just Mountbatten Road. So Tembusu Grand is here. I think it formerly was some kind of building. I can't remember, a restaurant or something. I think the now government has taken back, or the lease is over or something. So government tear down and sell this as a land plot. So it was won by CDL and MCL, who have been working together recently. So if you look at the location, right? Right next to it, really, you come into this very popular, there's a very popular, the Tipsy Cow, very popular drinking place here. And you have all these shop houses in Katong, just pretty near to your Tembusu Grand site, right? And behind there, there's a public car park, of course, and some other famous food places. I think there is a Eng Wantan Mee, there's a Domino's, right? And over here, you will see the famous Punggol Nasi Lemak, which is over here, I think at the side. And there's one Teochew porridge, which is still here today, this Heng Long. And that's the Punggol Nasi Lemak. I think at the hour this is taken, the Punggol Nasi Lemak is not open yet, right? Then there's a lot of various eateries here on the left and the right, some dentists and other services. Yeah, this is the famous Eng's Wantan Noodle, also quite popular. So this row of shops left and right, right? A lot of eateries. There's a Malaysian restaurant there also. As I said, if you go down some more, you end up in towards Paya Lebar, right? Tanjong Katong Road. And here there's a landed property area, right? So if you go here, back to the site. So if you look behind here on my left, behind these shop houses is actually Tanjong Katong Girls' School, right? Which is actually a very famous school in itself, right? If you go the other direction, you basically head towards Mountbatten Road, right? So the shop office area stretches all under here, right? And if you go all the way here, this traffic light, basically you turn left, then you head towards I-12 Katong and that shop house area over there. Behind this is actually Haig Road, right? So if you go down some more, actually it's Chuchiat and all that. So like I said, Katong address, right? Pretty nice location in Katong itself, right? If you look at the one map equivalent, right? I hope you can see this. Okay, so this is Tanjong Katong Girls' School, right? And then behind it is Tanjong Katong Secondary School. And I think here there's a Tanjong Katong Primary School, right? And the Canadian International School here. So actually, this square area here, Jalan Tembusu, is where Tembusu Grand is. So just now the shop house, the pub that we saw, and this shop house area is what I was showing on Google Maps just now. And this area is Tembusu Grand, facing Chelsea Lodge, right? So depending on the unit that you buy, very high likelihood anything facing towards Chelsea Lodge will be unblocked because all these are landed property, right? To the back, and this, if you face north, it's also probably unblocked because you are look down into the school towards this area, right? You probably be blocked a bit by Haig Court at the back. If you look south, also I think it's generally unblocked. So actually 3 out of 4 directions here, you should get pretty decent unblocked view lah. Okay, and of course if you go down here, right, you towards Amber and Mayor Road this side, right? This is the Tanjong Katong MRT, roughly 700 meters. So from here to here is roughly 700 meters to this Tanjong Katong. We should be ready around the same time this project is ready. Okay, we should be ready around the same time this project is ready. Right, like I said, from here, if this is Tembusu Grand, you turn right, you head up towards the Katong Shopping Center and I-12 Katong and all the projects and the Jujet Katong area here, right? And if you go up, right, and you will end up in this Dunman Road. Dunman Road, you turn left, of course, is the Dakota, right? And if you go up some more, you head up towards Kinex and the Paya Lebar Central area. So no real MRT next to you, but there's actually 3 MRT stations in pretty close vicinity. Depends on where you want to go. I guess if you want Green Line, you go up. If you want Thomson Line, you go down. You want Circle Line, you turn left. So actually, if you don't mind taking a couple of bus stops to get to where you want to go, right? I think you have 3 MRTs within close proximity, 1 to 2 kilometers. You have 3 MRT stations. But like I said, for a project like this, typically the main concern is not the proximity to MRT, right? Because traditionally Katong there's no MRT anyway. But you want the lifestyle of the Katong address, right? And again, like I said, this project very likely a lot of the facings will have unblocked views of some sort, which I think is going to be a big plus point, right? If you look at previous projects sold in this area, like for example, the one closest to it will probably be Amber Park, which was sold, and Amber Sea, right? Both of these were sold last year at pretty high prices, right? And they're almost fully sold, hardly anything to buy anyway. So these are reasons to say that why we think Tembusu Grand will do very well as well. Okay, now next thing, how about competitors? If I don't buy Tembusu Grand, is there anything I should consider? Now, it's quite important, I think, for Tembusu Grand to highlight that you have actually 2 competitors in the upcoming future. Number one is actually in Tembusu Avenue here, which is just north a little bit. So if Tanjong Katong Girls' School was here and Tembusu Grand is here, this is Tanjong Katong Girls' School, you go up a little bit more towards Paya Lebar. This whole Tembusu Avenue, all this landed house, actually is going to be one project called the Continuum. And the Continuum will also probably launch this year. We are quite certain it will launch this year. We don't know when, whether it will be just after the Tembusu Grand or later half of this year. But this Continuum project, the big difference is that it's freehold, right? And you say, well, Ryan, if got freehold, then I should buy freehold, right? Yeah, but the freehold also comes with a freehold price tag. This project Continuum the land price is about 1,004, which is $100 more expensive than Tembusu Grand. So Continuum is more expensive, right? Will very likely be more expensive, but it's also a big project, about 800 units here, right? It's a little bit nearer to Paya Lebar MRT, right? This Tembusu Grand, not Tembusu Grand, this Continuum will be nearer to Paya Lebar, right? Yeah, but again, this Continuum also not to say walking distance to any MRT station. So whatever it is, whether you're buying Continuum or Tembusu Grand, both will not have direct access to MRT. But this one is freehold, Tembusu Grand is 99, right? And this Continuum project is also what I would consider a slightly more quiet place. Like at this area, Tembusu Avenue, right? There's no shop just next to you, right? You're surrounded by a number of other older freehold condos, but no shop next to you. So in that sense, Tembusu Grand has that advantage where you are nearer to the retail areas. Okay, a lot of retail shops and lifestyle choices here. Well, the Continuum freehold one does not, though they're nearby. But then again, that being said, I believe Continuum and Tembusu Grand will be very big competitors. They're going to go head to head this year. If you can't buy Tembusu Grand, you will wait for Continuum. If you don't like Tembusu Grand for any reason, you will consider the Continuum. So these are 2 projects which I said, which I will say in my videos, definitely top choice for East buyers this year, and both will go head to head. But Tembusu Grand, I think, definitely has to me a slight location advantage because of its proximity, this actual proximity in Katong, and all these shops and lifestyle options here. Now, one more thing I want to highlight is there's another project which we don't know will happen this year, probably this year, but maybe later half of this year, or it could be even worse in 2024. But this site here at Dakota MRT, again, the Tembusu Grand here, near Tanjong Katong Girls' School, right? And this big trapezium-shaped plot of land was bought by another developer, Haig. So Haig is going to develop a large project over here, roughly 1,000 units. Okay, and the interesting thing is this plot of land and this Tembusu Grand plot of land is roughly the same price, right? Also 1,003 plus. This one also 1,003, but this one is Dakota Road, Dunman Road or Dakota MRT. But this one will be nearer to Dakota MRT, right? You cross the bridge, very likely you have Dakota MRT direct access, right? But it's on this plot. Again, they will have, but it's a big project, 1,000 units, right? Not technically Katong address, but this will likely happen, if not late this year, then 2024. So in all, there are 3 projects in this facility happening in 2023, or if not 2024, right? And they're all going to compete with each other. But I believe the Dakota one will be later. So this year definitely is Continuum versus Tembusu Grand. And that's from the locational attributes. So like I said, I believe the Tembusu Grand address is better than the Dakota one, than this Dunman Road one. I mean, as of this stage, we don't have any idea how the developers are going to design this in terms of what type of floor plans, what type of sizes, or the pricing. Pricing, they will all be similar. Of course, Continuum will be priced a bit more for the freehold, right? But as of this stage, we don't have any idea of the facilities, all that. They will all likely be pure residential projects, right? The Dunman Road one here will may have some commercial component considering its size, right? And but these are the projects talked about. So I think if you're someone who loves East Coast, who like the Katong address, you want to be in walking distance or cycling distance or jogging distance to anything in East Coast, in the Katong and Joo Chiat area, right? Haig Road is just behind you, right? And you enter this beautiful area, Amber Gardens, Amber Roadside, Mountbatten Road, where everybody likes to play. It's a atas place and it's nice. I mean, I enjoy it, right? I always go there to eat and entertain myself or my kids even, right? So it's a great location to be. Tembusu Grand is the closest in terms of all that, right? And considering the performance of Amber Park and Amber Sea in the past couple of years, I think it's not a far stretch to say that Tembusu Grand will be very highly requested as well. So that's it. If you enjoy this video, I hope this gives you as much information as possible. Will not be cheap, Tembusu Grand will be on the higher side compared to recent projects. But then again, East Coast has always been this pricing. And if you want to buy East Coast Katong, I think Tembusu Grand is the big choice for you. Launching very soon, I think in Q1 this year. We will do another video once we get more information, talk about the show flat and the layout plans and the facilities once we have that information. So stay tuned. If you like this video, do subscribe, like, and share. And watch out for more updates as we come out new projects for 2023, and we try and share them within 10 minutes. Thank you very much.